and I think that would do a whole lot of good. Makeup done. Hi guys, welcome back to Unicorn Corner. I'm Kez. There's a whole lot of unicorns together that makes Kez and unicorns. This intro is weird. Hi, today's featured unicorn is Ronnie. Just because I know how much everyone is missing McDonald's in this quarantine time that we're living in. So I brought Ronnie out because look at these eyes. So Ronnie is our featured unicorn today. I am also introducing a brand new series. Side note, I actually already recorded the first one, and then the world did what it did, and I thought, you know, maybe there's something more important I could be talking about right now. So this is my new series where we get makeup and mental health. Boom! Makeup and mental health Mondays. I know technically it's a bit of a weird one because they make no sense, and actually one could argue that me talking about mental health and then, you know, putting a mask on my face is kind of contradictory, but I have to brave the grocery store today. Really want a theme song. Chris, any ideas on a theme song?
Did you not go to like musical school?
I did.
Did you do composition?
I did.
Do you not just pick like some random notes of the first core of the alphabet and then like G, B?
Do, re, mi, fa, sol, la, ti.
Makeup and mental health Mondays with Kez
and unicorns.
Theme song. Wow. We're living in a quarantined world. It's kind of weird. And this is a safe space where we talk about mental health. And I wanted to sort of address a few little issues around what's going on right now. Like, one of my biggest concerns, like, okay, legit, I know that we are doing this to save lives, and the NHS doesn't have enough respirators. So we're trying to spread the disease out, but we can't deny the fact that, you know, people are losing their jobs, the economy is dying, and that makes for an interesting world. So I am imagining one of my biggest concerns is actually how this is going to affect not only people that already have mental health disorders or struggles with their mental health, but it's also going to affect those who usually don't, because there is angst everywhere. This is an anxious world we're living in. It's scary. So let's talk about that. I'm going to do my makeup, and I'll put the products that I use in the box below, but this isn't really about the makeup. Just gives me something to do. So let's get started. Yay. Okay, so as I said, my concern is very much for pretty much everyone, because mental health is a thing. If you want to know a bit more about me and you want to know why I am talking about this, then I will add a card up here. I'll also put a link in the description box below to my origin story, as I've decided to call it, because it makes me feel a bit like an X-Man. Woman, person, thing. I saw a tweet the other day, and I can't remember the exact tweet. I will try and find it and pop it somewhere on the screen so you can see it. It pretty much confirmed one of my concerns that I'd been talking about with my partner, which is People that usually struggle with mental health illnesses, for example, like people under home treatment teams, that can't happen because we are locked in our homes. How are these people that have mental health illnesses or that are very much struggling with mental health illnesses going to be able to survive this? There is added anxiety, there is added chaos, confusion, uncertainty, all of these things. And if you're someone who suffers with their mental health anyway, then it's a scary time, because it's kind of a scary time for anyone.
You talking to me?
And then on top of that, I have this worry about people that usually are, you know, mentally very well, potentially struggling with this situation. So this tweet basically said that the mental health crisis lines, this is in America, mind you, have seen like a massive increase in the number of people calling, which means if you are really struggling, then it's harder to get through to someone that can help you. And on top of that, it also said that there has been a pretty substantial increase in suicides as of late. And being someone who struggles,
Yippee.
if you don't know, my diagnosis is I have borderline personality disorder, I have anorexia, and I suffer from very, very acute chronic pain, which makes life hard, living in pain constantly, and it's also very debilitating, so it's very difficult often for me to, you know, get out of bed. So luckily I haven't really been that much affected by the lockdown, except for the fact that my fiance is now working from home, which is great. But if you hear a weird tapping noise in the background, that's him typing on his computer, because this is the only space we got, so we're doing what we can. So it hasn't really affected me, in that I'm not feeling like, oh my god, I've been stuck inside for days or whatever. But for other people, it is going to affect them a lot, I would think. I also work with an organisation called Time to Change, which is a mental health organisation that is trying to stop stigma around mental health. And I feel quite strongly and passionately about mental health. So yeah,
But that's why we're here.
Good job.
this tweet basically confirmed my suspicions that it's going to be tough. For anyone that already struggles with mental health, there's not really that much that I can say, except that hopefully you have good, you know, a good care plan, good coping mechanisms in order to ensure that you are able to deal with what is going on in the world right now. I know that I personally have been having quite a few panic attacks, and that's usually linked to when I go on my Facebook account or I go on Twitter. And we're gonna get to that. One thing that I would say is, if you're struggling, is to almost take a step back from social media right now, which is kind of a strange thing to say, because a lot more people are on social media because they can't meet up in person, so everyone's meeting up online. But it can cause a lot of stress, and it can be very triggering. So my best advice would be, do what you know works for you and try to ride it out. If you suffer with mental health illnesses, hopefully you have like a support worker or a caseworker. I'm currently waiting for mine. If that means taking a step back from social media, or maybe just messaging people instead of scrolling through Facebook and Twitter and everything, then do that. Also, I'm sure you'll already know about, you know, your local crisis team, the Samaritans, all of that good stuff. Just look after yourself. Maybe reach out to some friends, see if they can help just ease your mind. But the biggest thing that I wanted to talk about is for those of you who don't really struggle with your mental health, like people who very much usually are fine, and this sudden change is affecting them in a very big way. You know, as I said, there are people losing their jobs, There are people who are, you know, not really going to be able to pay rent. There are people that quite possibly don't have enough money to properly buy food. It's a shit show. And you know, you go on to like YouTube and there's Jeffree Star doing his like,
oh my god, like, it's so sad. I'm locked in my massive mansion. Like, life's so hard for me.
and it's kind of like, So right now, as I said, there is a lot of added chaos to the world, and there's going to be a lot of anxiety going around. You know, if you don't really have a history of mental health issues, you might not have a clue what to do. Wouldn't be surprising. So I just wanted to give you some advice to hopefully help that. So if you are someone who hasn't really struggled with mental health issues in the past and you are struggling, you know, maybe being home all the time is difficult, maybe, you know, you have been one of these unfortunate people who have lost their jobs, which I think is disgusting, and I think it should be illegal for companies to fire staff right now. Like, I don't really understand why that needs to happen. Shouldn't it just be, you know,
right now we don't need your services, but as soon as we reopen, we'll go back to normal.
It just seems bizarre, but maybe you have been negatively impacted, maybe you're struggling. So if you are, there are a few things that I want to advise.
I don't believe in getting sick.
Firstly, you need to look and find your local crisis team. Everywhere, especially in the UK, has a local crisis team, which is a phone number that you call when you're struggling. That should be your first port of call, just because you can talk to a complete stranger, you can talk about whatever you want, there's no judgment. There's also, of course, the Samaritans, and there's other numbers that you can find in your local vicinity. Even if right now you feel fine, I would recommend finding those numbers and storing them somewhere so that if you do get to a point where you suddenly find yourself in crisis and you don't know what to do, you have that there for you. Also, it might be a good idea to maybe tell a couple of friends, or maybe, you know, to get together in your groups and say, if anyone has any issues, this group or this person is there, because I think it's a time where we need to be here for each other. And if people are not here for each other right now, then, you know, they say that during a crisis you see a true person's character, and I think we're seeing that in a lot of people. You know, I've had certain people that I've been friends with for a long time, and I've seen the way they've been acting. I see the things they've been writing on social media, the things they've been saying, the things they've been talking about, and it makes me look at them from a very different perspective. One really good thing that I'm hoping is going to come from this is that we might get a better sense of community. People might start having a better understanding of mental health generally, and I think that would do a whole lot of good. Makeup done. If you are also someone who has not been too largely affected and you're dealing with it fine, maybe just like, I mean, for example, I put something up on my Facebook that basically said, like, hey people, like, I barely leave my house, I have mental health issues, I've been through the system. So, you know, if anyone just needs to vent, if anyone feels that they need to talk to someone that is a little bit away from them, I'm there. So I sent that out to the universe and have basically said, you know, we can chat, because I'm very aware of how this is going to be affecting people. Well, my skin is dry. That's for those of you who, you know, who maybe don't use. So basically, those of you who struggle anyway, keep an eye on your coping mechanisms, keep yourself in check, and just keep doing what you're doing. And you know, if you need to talk to someone, then you can message me on Twitter or Instagram. I'm not an expert, I'm not a professional, I'm just a normal person, but you know, I want people to feel that they're not alone, because I know what that feels like, and it's crap. If you're someone who hasn't been too largely affected and you don't really think you're going to be that affected by this, then good for you. But maybe it is worth just letting people know that you're there if someone needs you. Some of the things I've been seeing online, just, you know, there's some scary statistics, and I'm not really going to go into them. There's also very scary conspiracy theories. As I said, everywhere has crisis lines and things like that. Also, you know, national organisations like Mind, for example. If I'm having a particularly bad time with my eating disorder, then I call Beat, because that's who you call. If I'm struggling with my mental health, I might phone Mind over my crisis team, just depending on how I feel. But obviously people are not going to be able to come and see you, which I know is probably worrisome in itself. So try to be as active as you can. Try and reach out to people to make sure you get the support that you need, because that's all there is to it, really. Next up, in the last video of this that I recorded, I spoke about Facebook and reporting comments, and I'm about to say something that I swear to God you will not hear me say outside of this crisis. I look white, but I swear to God I don't look white. It's the light. That's a bit better. Facebook have this, what am I doing? There is a way that you can report a comment. If you see someone posting something on Facebook, or anywhere really, but there is an option to report the comment. I hate when people report the comment, because all it does is Facebook sends you a message saying,
do you need help?
and then you have to click yes. There's no option to say no, and then they basically give you like, here's the Samaritan's phone number, and it's like, thanks. And you don't know who has reported that comment. So for me, I end up basically being like, I can't trust anyone on Facebook, because why would you report a comment? If you were actually genuinely worried, you would message me, right? Like, isn't that what people do? And I still stand by that. However, because of the time that we're in, if you see someone posting something and it concerns you, firstly, private message them. Don't comment. I can only talk about this from my perspective and my opinion, so obviously some people might disagree. Reach out to them directly, send them a direct message and ask them if they need to talk, and remind them that you're there. If they don't reply within if you feel like this person is taking too long to reply, report the comment. Because, as I said at the beginning of this video, there might be a lot of people right now who aren't used to this, and they might be really struggling. They might not think in that moment to phone the Samaritans, for example. So I would direct message them. If they take too long, then report the comment, because that way they'll get a message and it will say, you know, someone is worried, which helps them know at least that they're not alone, and it also gives them a phone number that they can call. Ideally, send them a DM and say, you know, I reported your comment, I hope that's okay, but I was really worried and you weren't replying. That is, to me, the best and most compassionate way to help someone right now, because we can't just go and check. We can't do that. So reporting a comment will at least show them that someone's seen that and they care. And I think right now that is really important. I'm lucky. I'm a unicorn! My fiance is home all the time, and we are not just partners, we're best friends, so I'm very lucky. And there are people as well that are living with their entire family, so there's a lot of people around them all the time. But there are people who are completely alone, people that live alone, and they've basically been told
You can't leave the house or see friends or family or anything.
And so for those people, having a reminder that they're not alone could make a massive difference. If you didn't know about the fact that you can report a comment on Facebook, because I actually know quite a few people who were like, oh, I didn't know you could do that. So do that. But only do it if they don't reply within an amount of time. I'm not going to give you an exact amount of time, because I'm going to bet on the fact that you at least know this person to some extent, and probably know like how active they are, and you know, probably just have an idea of, you'll know if you think it's been too long, basically, what I'm trying to say. I don't know why I've just done like my whole lid. The blue and green is just the background. I don't know what I'm doing. Next up, there is such a thing as fear mongering. Okay, it's a thing that exists right now. As I said, I am having a lovely dose of panic attacks pretty much every time I go on Facebook, and some of the time I go on Twitter, but Twitter's not as bad. But there is such a thing as fear-mongering, and this is something that I really wanted to talk about because I think it is a really important thing to be aware of at the moment. So there's a lot of people who are sharing a lot of information right now, which is, you know, that's fine. They're allowed to do that. But I think a lot of people don't realise how that affects people that suffer from mental health issues anyway. So as I said, a lot of people are trying to just share information, and I think some people are just doing it because they are interested in it and they feel like they should share information. And I think that other people are doing it to vent. And then I think other people are doing it to try and get, you know, to advise people on things, to say, you know, this has been my experience here, this has been my experience here, please remember to wash those hands. And what you put on your own social media is, of course, your prerogative. It's your social media. You are allowed to do whatever you want with it. But there is, so I mean, I see this on Twitter a lot, you know, there are trolls, there are internet trolls who will just say shit to scare people, which isn't cool, but it's what they do. However, when it is a friend of yours and they're saying stuff, and they might think, or you might think, that what you're saying is fair and just fine, like you're just giving information over, and that's absolutely fine to do it. But during this time, when we are very much making an effort as a race, as a species, to save lives, I think we also need to be aware of the toll this is going to take on people's mental health, as I said at the beginning. So while there are trolls, and trolls do it for attention, and they do it, I don't know why, okay, but obviously they get a kick out of scaring people. And I'm going to go a bit dark here, so I'm just going to give you a bit of a warning, because I'm about to get a bit deep. You can't stop a troll.
A troll is a
Troll is
I would say if you see comments that if you see comments on social media that clearly are just trying to worry people, then I would say that you should report the comment. Or if there is a specific account that is clearly just going around trying to worry people, I would report the account. I mean, I think that's something that we should do all the time, but I don't think it's something we think about. Whereas right now I think we need to, because just as much as people's physical health is on the line, so is people's mental health and their lives as a result of that. I think a lot of people are going to suffer a lot with their mental health. This is going to affect people a lot. I think it's really important that we all stay aware of the fact that what we're posting, we need to think about who's going to see it. Because drama time. People commit suicide every day. Now I'm talking about this because I am someone who has OD'd before, and my mum also committed suicide, and a close friend of mine committed suicide as well. So I have a long history with it. And I can tell you that people do take their own lives. And right now, with everything that's going on, people are struggling. You know, as I said in this video, even people who don't usually struggle. So when you're putting something out there, think about the way that it could be perceived, because for some people it can be very damaging. It can affect them in a way that you might not even think it could. I can't find any of my brushes, so this is what we got. Do you like my contour? It's blending time. But yeah, basically I wanted to just put this message out there that yes, this is a really stressful time, but just we're in lockdown, and we're all most of us, you know, not the Trisha Paytases of the world. You know, I tried to I tried to defend her in some way with her DID video, which you can watch up here. But her going out and about in LA and being like,
I don't give a shit what the president says, I'm going out.
it's like, what? A woman was on a local radio show. A friend of mine shared it, and she was an elderly woman, and she was basically saying, like, if old people get it, they don't care because they've lived their lives, and the rest of us will, like, survive. And I was like, babies? People, like, with his immune levels are not good. I
don't know what's wrong with you.
Those of us who are actually genuinely trying to help others, the amount of people that are just not taking this seriously, and you know, they can be like,
well, I'm not going to die from it.
and it's like, oh, so it's fine for anyone else to die from it then? Is that what you're saying? Most of us, at least, are trying to make sure that we don't lose people for no reason. And it's kind of, I feel like it's kind of beautiful in a way, how people are coming together, but at the same time there are people who are just seem to be completely against that, and I don't really understand why. The amount of companies that have just been like, yeah, I'm going a bit off topic, but there is a hotel in Scotland, and the staff live in the hotel as part of, you know, they work there, they live there, and when Voldemort appeared, they basically fired all their staff and kicked them out. So they made a bunch of people homeless during this time of, you know, pandemic disaster. I feel like we need to name and shame these companies at some point for the way they have treated their staff. And yeah, I know some companies, they don't really have much of a choice, small companies especially, but it's also like renters, like people that own properties are getting, you know, they're able to get support, they're able to extend their mortgage time by 3 months, so they get like a 3-month holiday. But renters, no one's doing anything for us, you know. We can't be evicted during the crisis, but that doesn't mean you can't kick everyone out straight after. Like, I am more terrified of what the world is going to be like after this is over than it is right now. And I know this contour still looks bad, but it's going to blend out, don't worry. So yeah, I'm scared. And I think there are a lot of people who are scared, and this is a time for us all to come together right now. Sorry. And not just make sure that people are physically healthy, but mentally too. So I feel like if there is anything that people can do during this time to help those people who struggle, I mean, I don't think it's too much to ask, and it's where we're all told it as children. It's like,
treat other people as you wish to be treated.
and I'm going to say that now. Treat other people how you would want to be treated. If you were struggling mentally, wouldn't you want some people to be there for you? And that does mean maybe just taking a look at when you write a Facebook comment, think about, could that trigger someone? And yes, I said it on one of my, like, an IGTV video thing. I did that last year. And, you know, I said trigger warnings, you know, they're a bit weird because, like, anything could be triggering because you don't know someone else's story. But just think about it. You know, there are people complaining about having their kids around. Like, the amount of comments I've seen of people being like, oh, this would be so much better if the kids weren't here. And it's kind of like, like, I get that you need to vent, but at the same time, it's and, you know, there's a lot, you know, inappropriate jokes are fine as long as they're genuinely funny and they're not, like, harming people. I just want people to take a step back and think about others. Let's try and have something good come from this. You know, maybe a better sense of community, maybe a better understanding of each other. I want something good to come of it, and I just want people to be aware and think about how what they're posting can do and can come across. And I know that you get trolls, and I'm not, as I said, there's nothing we can do about that, but there is something that we can do about our own actions. You know, I feel like in the last couple of years people have started speaking out more about mental health, and I just don't want this to turn into some ridiculous, you know, where we care about people physically but we forget how fear-mongering is a thing. You know, spreading rumors, there's no need for it, I think, is my biggest issue. Like, why do we need to hurt people? Okay, I don't I don't really get it. Sorry, I'm doing quite a bit of my makeup without talking. Obviously it gets easier, but it's really hard to talk and do makeup at the same time. I also want to say, as someone that has borderline personality disorder, I have a tendency to get overwhelmed at things. And another thing that I really wanted to say as well, it kind of goes over the fear-mongering side a bit, but friendships are precious, and I feel like from what I've seen, there's a lot of people who are really struggling with this whole situation, and it worries me that people are going to end up losing friends because they disagree on something that's going on. And while I can understand, like, we all want to say what we want to say, we all want our voices to be heard, I also think we need to know that friendships are important. Yeah. Ooh, There was one person who was complaining about something, and I mean, they admitted that, like, they didn't know how to fix the problem, but you know, they were concerned, and I see a lot of this concern is coming from not actually the people necessarily who are at a higher risk of getting it, but their loved ones, because obviously they're worried about them, and they, you know, they'll say something and then someone will reply with a perfectly valid thing, and they'll be like,
I didn't want a conversation.
maybe say that in your comment. If you're saying, like, I just need to vent, I know this is kind of ridiculous, I know you could disagree with me, I don't know the answer to it myself, just say, you know, that you don't know the answer to it, but you just know that something is annoying you. Or use Twitter. I'm wondering how many babies are going to be born around Christmas time. I'm wondering how many people are going to break up as a result of this. I mean, if you're a couple and you live together and you're not used to spending all of your time together, and suddenly you're faced only with, you know, being with those people, hopefully it's a good thing. Our life hasn't changed. We do our stuff and we watch anime. It's good times. But now is not the time to lose friends. Now is the time to hope that the world that we live in after this is over isn't too different from the one before, but maybe is a bit nicer, you know, a bit more understanding. Oh, there's the pigment. Completely different topic, but do you ever find that no matter what you do, you run out of makeup at the same time? Like, always? Even if you try not to? Just suddenly you'll lose, like, everything, and you'll be like, what? Maybe I'm the only one. I don't know. One thing about this that I do think is good is you're not alone in this. You know, life is different for each of us. We're all in different positions, but we're all basically under martial law. I mean, it's not really, you know, what I think most people think of when they think of martial law. I was saying this to Chris the other day. It's like, I think most people think, you know, martial law, oh my god, I'm gonna get, like, killed if I break the rules, but in reality you're likely to get a fine or be told to go home or
Forced
to go home. Either one of those. I think now is a very good time for people to escape. And in a way that's, you know, this channel has two, at the moment kind of two distinct types of content. It has like that's kind of let's escape for a little while, you know, and then this side is trying to see if we can find a way to make a little difference, and we can each make a difference if we just think about the right things. And while it might sound completely cheesy for me to be like, we should all just, you know, hold hands and sing Kumbaya.
Just that I could bake a cake made out of rainbows and smiles and we'd all eat it, be happy.
Oh no, we really shouldn't do that. We should wash our hands and sing Kumbaya.
I just have a lot of feelings.
Everything that I've been seeing lately has, as I said at the beginning, it's caused panic attacks. It's, you know, it has people worrying, and I don't feel that there is really a need for that. And that's why I wanted to put this out there. I wanted to kind of say, okay, like, if you're struggling, do these things, you know, find coping mechanisms, try actually take someone up on their offer, you know, when someone says,
I'm always here if you need me.
and then when you need them, you don't reach out to them because, I don't know, we just don't, do we? It's like, no, I don't want to bother them, but maybe take that person up or call the Samaritans, or don't be afraid to reach out. It can just be as simple as venting to a complete stranger about stuff and knowing that, you know, because they're a complete stranger, you're not going to be judged for it, and you can just go on and get that out your system. And then, you know, as I said, maybe we can come out of this thing better. I don't know. Okay, well, that's me done. I just wanted to send a message out there that is hopefully helpful. You know, as I said, this we don't know how long this is going to go on for. It could affect you, it might not affect you, you might be one of the lucky ones. But to have something ready to go, you know, just in case you do feel like you're struggling, to already have the numbers that you need available will really help. And it won't just help if you get to that point, it will help knowing that you have that already there for you. It will help you, hopefully, be something off your shoulders. And as I said, please, like, just think about what you're posting. Is this necessary? Is this gonna hurt someone else? And when you're posting things that are generally, you know, they're kind of like advice or facts, or you're sharing like the latest news update, think about the way you phrase it. Think about if you need to. For example, do you need to say like, oh my god, we're going to be in lockdown for like 18 months and scare people, when actually that was taken completely out of context from an article that said it could take up to 18 months for a vaccine. There was never any talk about a lockdown taking that long. So just think about what you're sharing and the way that you share it. You know, as well as looking out for each other physically, let's look out for each other mentally too.
I just have a lot of feelings.
Please. This is the end of my first mental health and makeup series.
Good job!
Ronnie has been here the whole time, looking at me weirdly. But yeah, I hope you enjoyed this. I hope you got a positive message out of it, and, you know, try and stay safe. Keep washing those hands. I say as I've literally been putting makeup on my face with my hands. Wow.
Well done, Kaz.
Such. As I said, if you have any questions or comments, please feel free to put them down in the comment box below. I'm very, you know, I like having conversations. So, you know, if there's something that I don't know, if there's something that you feel that I didn't include in this video, if you would like to see a video of me talking about other things, whether that's regarding quarantine life, whether it's to have a little bit of an escape and a bit of fun, whether it's something more serious, please, like, do let me know, because I'm kind of doing this for you guys. Please do reach out if you want to talk, if you want to give me some, like, something that you want me to talk about. As I said, you can leave a comment, you can DM me on Twitter and Instagram, where I am kezandunicorns, exactly the same as on here. Who'd have thunk it? I'm genius. Yeah, and yeah, you can head over to my Instagram to see more pictures. If you're into like fashion and makeup and stuff, then feel free to come and join the journey of this little unicorn right here. And yes, even on Instagram I identify as a unicorn, except not really. Quarantine life is hard, it's weird, it's something very unexpected, but I feel like we need to put positive messages out there so that we can hopefully get something positive out of this.
That sounds so cheesy.
I'm not a cheesy person. Es lo que hay, as they say in Spain. Do this poll, it's completely anonymous, and just interested. Leave a comment down below. That's awesome. Come join me on Twitter and Instagram. As you're already here, why not hit that subscribe button? I'm going to be doing makeup and mental health Mondays. It probably won't be every Monday to start, but I'm hoping to do it every 2 or 3 Mondays. If I can do it quicker, then I will, but obviously living with chronic pain, sometimes it is quite difficult for me. But, you know, if you guys really like this and you want something else, then I would try and get one out for you really, really quick. Really, really quick. Just for you. And, you know, subscribe if you also, you know, are interested in kawaii, Japanese fashion, makeup, all of that kind of stuff, anime, whatever. And if you like a bit of social commentary, subscribe. You're already here. You can just hit it. And oh, and you know, click that thumbs up button thing. I hear that's important. I don't know. That was Chris, very rudely sneezing while I'm closing a video. Wow. Thank you very much for, oh Christ, now I'm falling over. Thank you very much for spending some time with me today. I am your friendly neighborhood unicorn girl, Kez, and I will see you very soon. Arigatou gozaimasu. And keep on unicorning. And washing your hands. Bye. Bye.
Yo, 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 yo!
Wow. Rude.
I was quiet the whole way through.
I know. Rude.